So now I cut out all the pieces, and as you can see, I glued the pieces together. So what's going to happen is now I'm going to put these on top of it so that then it can go inside like so. But right now we have to cut off all the excess edges so that we can make it fit. So that's what we're going to do. Now, as you can see, I have cut all of the pieces off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece. We're going to lay it down, look to see if there's any spots where it's above the ground, like right there. There's a little bit of space, and then flip it over, see if there's any space. And on this side, I don't see any space. So what we're actually going to do is on the space that's the flattest or is like most level to the ground, basically, you're going to flip it over. So we're going to use this side for the pieces. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the piece down like this, and you're going to put the flat side on top of it. Now, we do want a little bit of excess on the sides, so you want to try to make that as even as possible. That way it will stay on top and won't sink in through the piece. So we want it to be as even, and you don't want to cut this off because this is very important. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go glue the rest of these like so, and then I'll have all my centers done. So then all we have left is the edges and the corners. Now, as you can see, I've put it together, and you can see that the center pieces are working great. They are making it so they are not falling. And so now, as you can see, if I take out a corner and an edge, you can see all the space that's left inside. So actually what I'm going to end up having to do is, while it's assembled, measure the edge piece right there and see how much I can make it come out, and then how, like, the angles and stuff, and how it's going to come over, and then I can tell you that, because now I have to make a torpedo that helps it stay in place, and then have another one on top, so that I can then make the corner go inside of the edge. I figured it would be better to measure it when it's mostly taken apart. So as you can see, this is what one layer looks like right now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how much room I have right here for it to come out, and then I'm going to try to make a torpedo. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm thinking for the torpedo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a piece right here, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a thing right down the middle, right here, that comes up so that a corner can go here and here. So this comes up, and I'm going to go about 2 inches, I think. 1 to 2 inches, and then I'm going to have a piece that goes this way. So I measured that there's on the smallest side 1.5 inches right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a torpedo that's flat right here, that's 5 inches, because that's what this distance is. So it comes up, and then you got a 5-inch, and then it comes up this way and this way by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to have to cut a piece for this, of course, and then have 2 pieces down the middle. And then I'm going to need another flat piece right here, and then I'm going to need 2 small pieces to create the edge, and hopefully that'll work. So that when you put in the edge, it'll stay connected, which should be able to help the stability of the centers too, because it'll come out to over here, hopefully. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I have now cut out about 80% of the pieces, so all I have left is to cut out an extra torpedo, and I've marked off where I'm going to cut out on some of these pieces. So if you don't understand what all of these pieces are, this is how much you have to cut for all 12 edges, and this is even what we have to do for the corners. But, so what we're going to end up doing to create the edge is, I had to cut out, because there's 12 corners, 12 of these pieces that go right here. So that's what all of those are. So that piece is going to go there. So I have 12 of these big pieces. Then I had to cut out 24 of these pieces. So what's going to happen is these are going to end up going this way. And there's going to be 2 of them right down the middle. And then these pieces are going to be cut out like that. So we're going to have 2 right here. And then this bigger piece is going to go on top of those 2 pieces like this. And then all of these pieces are what's going to help hold it intact with the center. So I have these pieces, so you can see what I'm going to cut out. So when these are standing up, like this, pretend that's standing up, then this piece is going to go in that little slot, like that, on both of them. And so I'm going to glue it in, and it's actually kind of going to be angled up. And then I had to count out 48 of these because there's going to be 4 on each piece. So you have 1 on each side. So this is going to be the top piece. And there's going to be one that's angled, that's like even with it. That's going to be kind of like overlapping like that. And then the other piece is going to be like down like that. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain in a video like this, but you'll see it as I make one. But that's what all these things are. So if you want to know the dimensions of what I did, so these were 4.5 by 8, I believe. These are 4.5 by 8. Then these I knew had to be 4.5 this way. And then I made them 2 inches tall because I wanted to make sure that when they were down here they had a good amount of space up above, but not too much to the point where it was touching the top, touching both centerpieces. So I got 2 inches for that. And then these were what went flat on top, and I made them 3 inches apart, so I still have enough room here and here for the corner pieces to intact with it. So this was 2 by 3, or sorry, 4.5 by 3 inches. And so I had to cut out 12 of these. I believe there's 12. And then I had to cut out 48 of these, and these are, I believe, 2 by 3 inches. So now I'm going to cut out these, and then I'm going to start putting them together so that you can see what it kind of looks like, and it'll give you a better understanding of the edge pieces. So I've now successfully created an edge. So this is what it looks like. And it's pretty sturdy, as you can see. So what's going to end up happening is this is what's going to keep it in place. So as you can see, it goes in like that. And that's what's going to keep it from falling out. Now, so now I have to make a bunch of these, and they're all going to go on like that. And that is our edge piece. So now I'm going to make a bunch more of these, and I'm going to cover them in silver duct tape because they're not going to be seen. And then, yeah, and then I'm going to put them on the edge pieces. So, coming up, this will be how to make these. So, I have now organized all the pieces, and I realized that when I was making the pieces, that I needed a couple extra pieces, so I ended up cutting out all the extra pieces, and then there was some pieces that where I miscounted. So now I have it all organized, so now I'm going to create all of them except for one, and then I'll show you how to create it, and then after that I'll show you what it looks like duct taped, and then I'll show you how to put duct tape on it so that it's nice and smooth. So now we're going to create these edge pieces, so I'm going to show you how to do this. So what we first want to do is we're going to get this. So what I did to get this hole was we're going to cut it. It's going to be 2.5 inches by 1/2 inch. So what I did was when we have these two pieces, and you know that they're going to go right here, and I knew that I wanted 2.5 inches on each side, so I just measured and put a little line right here on that spot. And then I have these two slots that are eventually going to go through it. Wait, no, these two slots. These are going to go through it like so. So I knew it had to be big enough for these to fit through it. So then I just made it 1/2 inch wide because I knew that it would fit that. So that's how I made that spot dead in the center. So you want to take your time on the spot. So what we're first going to do is we're going to get the very small piece that's 2 by 2.5, and we're going to put some super glue, hot glue on one edge like that, and then we're going to attach it to this piece, and you want to do it in the middle. And we're going to wait. Okay, now that we have this, we're going to put super hot glue on the other side. And then make sure they're facing the same direction. Like that. And then get it to dry. Try to keep it as level as possible. So if you want to know how I got these, I just made a line down the middle, and then I moved it up so that it was more towards the top than the bottom or the center. So I just drew a line and then moved it up. I didn't measure for those. And then these, you just want to make sure that it's lower than this to cut it, and that keeps it from catching or not being able to put the edge piece in. So these slits right here are very important, but I didn't measure again for them. So now we're going to put on the big piece. So what you want to do is you want to put hot glue on all of the sides of the cardboard right here. So as you can see, I'm putting it on all of them. Then after that, you want to take this piece, you want to put it on it as centered as you can. So now we have this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these pieces that are 2 by 4, and I cut them at 2.5 so that you have this little flap. So that's going to end up going on the other side, as you can see, and it's going to come out like so. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this piece, and you want to put it on this side so that it's going away from you, and you want to put it on this side. So we're going to put some hot glue here. And then on this part right here where it's connected is where we're going to put the piece. So I'm going to put it, I'm going to try to put it dead center. And then you can do it with the other side. So you put it on the side that's on the right. Then you put it dead center, or your goal. Now you have these 2 pieces. So now we have these 4 pieces left. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some hot glue, and we're going to put some hot glue right here. And then we're going to take one of them and we're going to just stick it right there so it's sticking out like that. And I'm going to do the other side. And we're going to get another piece of the 2 by 3, I believe. So now we have that sticking out. Then what we're going to do is we have these little slits right here. So what's going to happen is we're going to take these pieces and they're going to go right there, and then they're going to attach over there. So we're going to get some hot glue. And we're just going to put a little bit, not a super lot, just maybe 1 squirt. So that's like that. And then you're going to take the piece and you're going to put it at the bottom and then push the glue up to the top. And then you want to make sure it's at the roof of it and then touching the other side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little squirt of glue right there to keep it intact. And then we're going to go to the other side where these 2 pieces are, and we're just going to put some glue there so that they're connected. So now that's there, so we're going to do the other side. Exactly the same as before. And now we have this. So then what we're going to do is we're going to put it through. So I recommend waiting for this to dry first so that you don't burn your hand. And so now what we're going to do after I let it dry is we're going to attach it to this piece. So now that it's dry, what we're going to do is going to, on the short side, right here, as you can see, we're going to put glue on both sides. We're going to put it on this part. So we're going to put a line right there and here. And then you want to grab it like this and make sure that can go through. And then you're going to push it down so that this can now fold. And then you're going to flip it over, and you're immediately going to try to move it as much as you can to try to get it as centered on the piece as possible. And then we can go to the other side. We're going to put some glue at the top spot right there, and then push it down, and then put another strand there. And then where the fold is, we're also going to put a strand there. Do the same for both sides. And that is how you create the edge piece. Okay, so after you create this, you want to make sure that it fits before you put the duct tape on. So what you want to do is when you have the core assembled like this, you want to make sure that it's coming out. And then what you're going to do is take the piece and you're going to slide it right there. And then if you come over here, you can see that nothing is really touching and there's nothing that's going to be like catching. And it can go in here smoothly. So that's what we want. So sometimes you may have to cut off these ends because it'll be too tight, and then you may have to re-glue them, but that's fine. So now we're going to do the duct tape. So now what we're going to do is first we're going to get a small strand, It's about a square. Like this. And then we're going to stick it on the side of the table. And then what you want to do is you want to cut it in half. Like this. And then you can cut it in half again. So that now we have some small squares. So what we're going to do is on this spot that we kind of curved earlier, you want to take it and put it dead center on it. And then just fold it over both sides. So you can do that on the other side. I'm going to have to redo that one. So you're going to put it on the center. And you can do that on both sides. So that now we have all of these done. So now what we're going to do is going to do this part right here to make sure that's all nice and smooth. So we're going to get a pretty long strand, but not too long. You can hang it. And what we're going to do is you're going to cut basically a square like that, and you're going to flip it over, and you're going to put it on this piece, but not a little bit less than halfway, like a third, so like that. And then you're gonna flip it over, and you're gonna take this piece and put it on that side, fold it down, and then this flap you're gonna put, we're actually gonna cut. Okay, paste and delete that part. So now we're gonna get a square.
Terrible duct tape.
Shut up. So now we're going to get a square. To the scissors. And then we're going to turn it upside down and put it about a third of the way, so not halfway. And you can put it down. And then you flip it over. And you're going to fold it up just a tad bit on one side. And then the other side, as you can see, if we put it up, it's not going to be able to go under. So we're going to have to cut just a tad bit. Like that, so that we have this little flap. And now we're going to take the bigger flap and fold it on top like that. And then if you're left with a little piece like that, you can just take the scissors and cut that off. Like that. And then this smaller strand, you can take and put it that direction, so you can kind of cover up that area right there. And you're going to do that with all sides. So there's 3 left. You can stop video tutorial.
Go.
So now what you're going to do is going to get a really long strand that's going to cover up this part right here. So you can kind of eyeball it, and then you can cut it. And what it's going to do is going to put it at about halfway, and then smooth it down. And then you're going to bring the other side over. Like that. And you can just pinch the places where it is, and if you have a little spot like that, you can just cut that off. And you can do that on both sides. And then after that, we're going to get a really long strand. And we're going to stick a little bit inside the hole. You want to try to get it as even down the center of that piece as possible. And then you're going to flip it over. I'm going to get it tight down the center. And then you're going to go to the other side. And if you see that you still have a ton left, it helps if you just cut a little piece off and use that later, because then you don't need all of that. And then we're going to fold that piece in. Try to get it tight. And then what you can do with the excess is, if it's long enough, you can just punch it to the roof. And if it's not, then you can just fold it over to the opposite side of it. And then now for the very last part, we're going to get a strand that's not super long, but is relatively long enough to go over these two pieces. Like that. And you'll put it even with one of them. And then you can fold that down. And then get another one. It's about the same length. And then you can tape it. And then we'll get one more to finish this piece off. And you're going to put it right down the center of it. So now it should be super sturdy and smooth enough on all the edges that it'll work really well as our edge. So now I gotta make the rest of them.